The Super Dragon Ball Heroes promotional anime just dropped episode 14 this morning or night, depending on where you live. We just had episode 13 a couple weeks ago. And those of you who saw that episode and saw my review for it, I didn't really have much to say. It was a very short review because the episode really didn't move the story along at all. But it was really a really beautiful piece of animation from Naotoshi Shida. That was the main story of that episode, like how beautiful it was and how it's like, wow, like, with Super Dragon Ball Heroes, like I've said before, this is not like a traditional anime. This is like a promotional anime. It's pretty much the most commercialized that Dragon Ball can possibly be, because this anime is done purely to promote the new Heroes card coming to the Japanese arcade machine when the anime comes out, whether it be SS4 Gogeta or SS4 Vegeta or whatever they have coming out, Super Hearts. That's what it's for. And the Goku versus Hearts fight, last month, or not last month, 2 weeks ago, episode 13 was fantastic. And at the very least, with Heroes, the storyline has always had tremendous potential to be great, but it just never delivers because it's always forced into this really small, sort of a narrow way of storytelling where they have to promote a new card, so they have to introduce a new transformation or a new character or a new form or something every episode to get the new card over, and thus it inhibits the possibility of it being a good story sometimes. And I've pretty much given up on the fact that Heroes is going to have a good story, like an actual thorough narrative. It's just not, it's not what it's there for. But at the very least, we can get some good animation. Obviously, different fans like different things. Some fans prefer great animation over great story, or like it just as much. I prefer the story over everything, in my opinion, but at the very least, we can get at least a cool fight scene out of it, right? That's the least I can ask for. And I'm not saying that you have to like that or whatever, because certainly you don't, because I'm not a big fan of Super Dragon Ball Heroes at all, mostly because of how much potential it has to be a lot of fun. It has great storylines, great potential storylines, but it never really is that great. See what I'm saying? Like, it's these ideas of like Zamasu coming back and, all the universes working together to fight against his armies. That's a great freaking idea. That could be a great Dragon Ball Super arc, but it's just always being pushed and squeezed into this narrow sort of story. So like I said, the least we could ask for is some cool fight scenes. That's what we got with episode 13. With episode 14, the story does move, but again, we're still kind of trapped in what it is, if that makes sense. We can't really go too much further. And it's a shame because it would be cool if you could. Also, real quick before I get into the episode, there's been a rumor that somebody sent me that, it's probably on Facebook or something, that they're going to do a full 30-minute, 22-minute Dragon Ball Hero series. That's BS. That's complete nonsense. It's just going to be a promo anime that comes out whenever it needs to promote the new card. In fact, the very next one's coming out in September. Early September is when Dragon Ball Heroes episode 15 comes out. So that's when the next big card is going to drop. But this episode did not have the animation of the one last week, but at least it moved the story along for what it's worth, like I said. And the first part of the episode picks up with Goku versus Hearts, which is where we left off in the last episode. And I wonder when I watch these things if, like, future generations of Dragon Ball fans beyond us, like ones that aren't going to understand what Heroes is, ones that, just come into the series and are trying to figure things out, if they see clips of this and they get confused. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember when there were clips of, like, some of the Dragon Ball games and Dragon Ball fans thought it was Dragon Ball Hoshi? If you've been around a long time, you know what I'm talking about. Or when you saw that Super Saiyan 5 picture and people thought it was AF and thought it was real. I just wonder if, like, in many years, if new fans, like younger ones, obviously, the older ones are going to do their research, they're going to come into this and try to figure out what the hell this is and where it fits in the timeline, when it's not even part of the timeline at all. Because it's just such a different thing. Goku versus Hearts is going to be a fight that has been animated and has been made into a thing, right? And to be, truth be told, what we saw in this episode was okay. Like, animation-wise, it was fine. But Goku isn't really the main focal point here. It's Kamioren. That's the card they want to get over because they're going to be releasing a new form of Kamioren for the card. Again, like I said earlier, that's what they do. So they had to give Kamioren the spotlight for this episode. Now, one thing I did like, of course, and I've said this before, is whenever 17 and Piccolo team up, it's awesome because of how awesome their fight was in Z on that island. God, I love that fight. Go back and watch that fight, Piccolo and 17, if you haven't in many years. you'll be blown away. One of my favorite fights of the series, very underrated among the fandom, I think, is maybe top 5, top 8 Dragon Ball fight. It's really fun. But anyway, seeing them work together, right, is great. And I wish they had done more of this in Tournament of Power. So the main thing that happens here is Kamioren, I guess, the universe seed, that big crystal thing that, Zamasu's forces have, it emits like this beam or something, and it goes into Kamioren, and he transforms, or I guess it transforms, it's half female, half male, whatever, into this new form of Kamioren, which looks remarkably like Aniraza. And I do believe tonight's Dragon Ball Super dub episode was the Aniraza episode. I think it was tonight. I'm a couple weeks behind on that, so I gotta check it out. But it's just a big, giant, hulking monster thing, and a new challenge for them to face off against. Kind of a cool, weird-looking sort of species of creature or whatever. Again, it looks just a little bit weird, but not in a bad way. I'm okay with the way it looks, and it's, again, the new card. Here we are. New character, new form, whatever. So Piccolo, 17, Vegeta, and Trunks all get together, and they just start firing ki blasts at this new Kamioren. And it's a cool looking scene, but I wonder, how many times have they done the thing where a character fires like a million little ki blasts, and it just, all it does is create a big puff of smoke, and then the enemy comes out of the smoke like relatively unharmed. It's like a trope in this series, and here we go again. But I don't hate it or anything. I don't hate that. It's just kind of funny that, they're doing that trope again. It's a thing I noticed in Dragon Ball, especially in Z a lot, multiple times. So Goku gets in there and tries to do some damage. He ends up getting squeezed, and he starts glowing like a weird energy. Kamioren lets him go, and we see that silver aura, and then they zoom in on Goku's face, and he's got silver eyes. So here we are once again with Ultra Instinct Omen. And I do like the Heroes anime soundtrack, but I do feel like it needs that, that Ultra Instinct theme song from Dragon Ball Super, which is just a fun little theme song. Even though they sort of did overplay it a bit in Super, it's like 4 times they played it, but I think it would have worked out here. So I guess the next big card is going to be some kind of Ultra Instinct Goku card, I presume. But I guess we have now Ultra Instinct Omen Goku against Kamioren, and that pretty much means that Kamioren's going down because Ultra Instinct Goku rarely loses. I'm not going to say never. Usually he just ends up losing the form, but when he's in that form, I don't think Kamioren's stronger than Jiren, so I'm gonna assume that he's gonna win this thing, but again, that remains to be seen. So overall, this episode was okay. It wasn't the best episode. It was just, there's not much to say about it too, you know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. It's not a great story. I don't think the Kamioren design is that interesting. It's cool, but it's not like really cool. Like, it's okay. It's neat, but it's not like, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 5 in my opinion. And it was just there. It wasn't a terrible episode, but it wasn't a good one. It was okay. Like, you see it for 8 minutes and you're done. So there's just not much to say. Honestly, if you want to skip this, now that you know that it ends with Goku going Ultra Instinct, if you want to skip this episode, go for it, because the only thing that happens is Kamioren transforms, and that's it. Like, there's not really any great animation or anything like amazing last episode. So if you want to skip this, by all means, do it. You know what I mean? There's no harm in that one. So because it's just again, I don't want to repeat myself. But Dragon Ball Heroes is just not a regular anime. I personally, even though I know some people love it because it's very wacky, there's a lot of fun things about Heroes, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of fun ideas here, but the execution of it is so, like, obvious what they're doing. It's very commercial. It's just very, like, I feel like it doesn't really have any heart. No pun intended. There's a character named Heart in it. But I honestly, truly feel like Dragon Ball Heroes, the promo anime, just doesn't have any heart, and whether or not you love or hate Super, right? That at least had heart. You can tell Toriyama was going for something. Sumitomo did a great job. The animators tried their best, especially closer to the end of the series. Not in the beginning. There was all kinds of problems, even though that's not really their fault. It's more a scheduling problem, production problem. But Heroes just feels really empty. And I just wish that they would commit to a better story as opposed to just we got to get this episode out for the cards, but that's not what Heroes is. So thank you again for watching, and let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Remember to take care of yourself and each other.